Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we're going to make a little tutorial making a necklace with the SoftFlex company bead kit Woodland Walk. Now I've already been into this kit because, well, I made a little necklace earlier with it, and actually quite simple one. Let me see if I can show that to you. It's a little tiny mountain and just a few beads, so just a little pretty. But anyway, that's why I've already opened up this bead pack to make that. And now we're going to make a different necklace. And so let's turn down and we'll get our beads out, and I'll show you sort of a sketch of what we plan on making. So let's get this turned down. Okay, here we are, and this is the necklace that I'm going to make. So we've got this leaf out. Now I have put a little gold paint on the leaf, and then I used the vintage reliefing block to rub it out of the tops and stuff to give it a little bit of a different look. Now, since I finished doing that, put this aside for right now, we will pull out some of the beads we're going to need. Now, this was the kit. It has all kinds of pretty beads in it, and this also was in here. This is a Jesse James Beads bead mix that they made specifically for this kit, in conjunction with SoftFlex, so that they'd have it the colors they wanted. And this is the Bead Strand. Now the Bead Strand is sold separately if you wish to have it, but we are going to use parts of the Bead Strand for this, and parts of this, as well as, well, in the kit you not only get the Jesse James bead mix, but you also get a spool of wire. I believe these are 10 feet spools. Yes, they are, of the medium SoftFlex wire. This is in the red jasper color. You get findings. They've given us a toggle clasp and some ear wires. You get some crimp tubes. We'll want those. And you get, well, this leaf was in with this baggie with the other little embellishments. This is also part of the kit. And then, as well as the Jesse James bead mix, they usually give at least 3 strands of beads, sometimes 4. This one had 5. Yes. This little pretty flowers, and these big copper beads were actually in the bead mix from Jesse James Beads. So aren't those are pretty cool, aren't they? I'm not sure what I'm going to use these for, but right now they're going to go back in the bag because I don't need those for this. But I am going to use at least part of most of these other things. Well, other than these, because I've already got the leaf out. So we're going to set this aside. And we're going to start getting some of the pieces we need together. Now I need all of these. Some of these and some of these. We've got our leaf and our SoftFlex wire. And I'm also going to use some 20 gauge wire to do my pendant piece, from the pendant up until it goes up onto the bead strand. And then I have some copper oval jump rings in 2 different sizes. So let's get our beads out and get started. So going by the book, what I want for this bottom piece is one of these. Let's get a couple of little trays out. I'm going to want one of these for the bottom. As well as the leaf. Come on, baggy, close back up. One of these flowers. So let's cut these loose. And then I want, well, I'm going to put these in a baggie in just a second because I'm not going to use anymore. But we want to get some of these out of here. What I'm going to want is one of these little red ones. One of these gold bead caps. And looks like it didn't fall out, so we'll have to get it to fall out here. Here's what I want right there. One of these little guys. And what we're going to do here is we're going to get some copper wire. Like I said, this is 20 gauge. And we're not only going to make our pendant with this, we're going to make our bell. So we're going to want a bit. So that should be good. In fact, that's probably way more than I need, but better to have too much than not enough. Not enough means you get to start over, which is no fun. So the first thing we want to do is hook this to our leaf. In order to do that, we want to make a loop. So we'll bend this wire. Now, when I'm making these kinds of loops, I like to use my bail making pliers. It makes them nice and consistent, and we're going to use the smallest size, and then just wrap it around, bring it across, and see you have a nice loop. Then we're going to slide our leaf onto here. Now, if it doesn't want to slide up into the loop, you may need to open the loop up a little bit, but it looks like I'm good. So then, after you get that in, hold this with your pliers up a little bit from where they could come together, and then wrap a few wraps around to secure that. Okay. And then cut this extra off. And tuck this down just a touch. And there we have this hooked on. Yep, that's not tucked well enough, so let's get that tucked a little better. Now, if you need to, as you can see, this looks like it's over to one side, so you can always take your pliers and just sort of bend it back to where you want it, which is much better. So there we are with this start, the leaf hooked on. Now, since we are using copper, I have brought in some copper dividers, or spacers as their actual name is, but I have a thing for spacers, so we're going to put this together here. Come here, baby. Now, as you can see, this touch of the wire here is bent, and sometimes the beads won't go over that. And if you have that problem, you can either try and straighten that, Or if you have enough wire, just cut that little bit of wonkiness off, which is what I usually do. Maybe a copper one. Now I'm not going to put a spacer in there, because I'm just going to make the little flower be sitting there. And we'll put this cap on. When we do, we're going to push it down gently so that it spreads out around the flower, making it look like the edges of the flower would look. And then we're going to have this little green one here as the topper. There's our little pendant. And now what we need to do is form our, well, we're sort of going to form our bail with this. And in order to do that, we're going to want slightly bigger bail. So we're going to get our bigger bail banking pliers out. We want it to go this way. So we're going to come up and around. And then we're going to do that again because we want two. So up and around again. And now that we've got it over both, we're going to wire wrap this here at the base. So we'll take our pliers like before and just hold this carefully while we wrap the wrap around the bottom here. And when you have it where you want it, just sort of. Now I did that like that because what we're going to do is we're going to make some rabbit ears. If you don't know what rabbit ears are, it's just a spreading of your wires here that makes this have two loops rather than just one. And after you do that, you may want to bring this wire down some because it wants to bag sometimes. So you see how that happened? So just tuck it in a little better. And there we go. Now you have can do one of two things now. Since we have this bit left, you can either cut it off like you would normally, or you could make a loop out of it, or in a little spiral, or any amount of little twistings you want. What I'm going to do is cut about half of it off, and I'm going to make a little spiral that I'm going to sit right here at the base of the rabbits. So to do that, just take hold of it with your needle nose, make a slight circle till it gets almost all the way around. Then take your regular pliers and just spiral it. Then push it up into where you want it. So we have this. See the little spiral up at the top with the rabbit ears. And now we can set this aside for just a bit while we gather up our other beads and such that we're going to use. Now, as you can see, we have all kinds of pretty beads in here that we planned on adding. So we'll just get all those together. Put the book back aside here, and let's get some of these beads out. Now I'm not going to use any more of these, so I'm going to put these in a little baggie, which I keep handy beside my desk here. And I'll do the same with the other beads once I crack them open too. So there those are, and they can be set aside because I don't think we're going to use any more of these. But we are going to want some of these. So let's cut these open as well. And I want to get two of the same color. So thinking these two. And I think it's only two I have used. So the rest of them will go into another baggie. And I'm going to want quite a few of this strand, so let's cut this open. This one is on wire, so it will need your flush cutters rather than, oops, there went that little end bead. That's all right, I didn't need it. It wasn't one of my pattern. What I do want is this and this. Go to this side and get that here on this side as well. And now we'll put this aside until I can get it in a bottle. And yes, I have special bottles that I use for Jesse James bead strands once I pop them open. Okay, I've reached over and grabbed one of the little bottles I tend to keep my strands in once I open them up. So we'll get these in here so that they're not going to get lost here on the desk or on the floor, as the case may be, because I have a bad tendency of dropping beads. And I don't think I'm the only one that does that. I'm sure most of us do. And then I'm going to cut this little tag off of here and put it in the bottle along with the beads, and that way I know what this is. So we'll just cut that off right there, plop it in the bottle, and then this could be closed up. Okay, the other beads we'll need are a couple of these, some of these, okay. These look a lot like bloodstone, but I really think they're just a glass bead. Let's see if that's about what we had decided on. Also wanted some of these. So let's let's get these out as well. Need another little baggie when I open it. There we go. Cut this off. That little seed bead flew, and I should have been more careful with that, but that's the way it goes. I try to get my extra beads in a baggie or something right away because I'm notorious for dropping them on the floor if I don't. Just like that. Then we want 2 of these. And it may actually be a little more than 2 because we've got, no, we're going to go with 2. And we'll put, oop, there's 4. That's all right. We'll keep them in there just in case we need some extra stuff. And we'll put this little red one in here too. Now I think I'm probably done with these. So I'm going to put them back in this box. But if I do decide I need them, we will keep them close by and handy. So the next step, of course, is going to be to cut our wire. And we need to decide how much wire we actually want. And I'm thinking, 22, 24 inch necklace. So let's get a couple of feet of our SoftFlex out. You know what? I am going to just put work right off the spool. And in order to do that, I will pull out some wire, and then I will just put a bead cap stopper on one side so it doesn't just sink all the way in, so it doesn't give me any weird vibes kind of thing. And then we're going to put our beads on. So we'll start with this one, this guy. I don't want a spacer in here. You know, I'm not wanting this spacer. I think we will get some little bead caps out. I've grabbed a handful of bead caps and we'll drop those in here with the other stuff. Now we're going to put this one facing this little white cone, and then we'll put the red bead on. And I think I like that better. So then we'll do the same with the melon beads, with the bead on either side here, or bead cap. You know, there are some larger bead caps in the mix, and I am going to see if they will look better on the melon beads than the little ones. Let's see what we've got here. They might actually be too big, however. And I'm not sure if there's 4 in here or not, so let's find out. There's the 2. Will that sit in there nicely? I think it'll work as long as there's 2 more in here, which I believe I saw that there were. But there they come. And 2. So let's get let's get those onto here. You know, I'm thinking there's too much of a darker color here, so let's switch our melon beads for a lighter color one. Or maybe even this green. I think this green might be nice. So let's get that back off. And we'll put this green on. Yes, I like that better. So let's put this one in the dish and we'll put the rest of these back up. Now the next one is going to be one of these big, pretty wow, these have multiple holes in them. You could go any way with this that you wanted to. But I just want to go straight across. So come on, baby, straight across. Sometimes with these beads that are hollow in the middle, you have to play with it till it wants to go on. There we go. There's one side of our bead strand. Now we're also going to put in this little red one because this one's going to sit between the rabbit ears. So our next step, after we put this on, and I just dropped that spacer, is to slide our pendant over the top of these beads right here. They should fit right in the hollow there. As you can see, that worked just dandy. This one's still a little bit wonky, but that's all right. We'll get it fixed. And now, of course, we just want to the exact same thing up the other side. So, of course, we want this little yellowy brown colored one. Spacer. There you are, the dark green one. these bead caps here with the creamy colored, beige colored one. Oop, sorry. Didn't mean to bump the camera there. Now, because this has multiple holes but the one side that has just one hole is going this direction. So we have to find the way we put it on over here, which would be from this side here to up here, so that it faces the same direction as far as, because of it only has 5 petals. And then we have our brown and this green melon, twisted melon I think is probably what it's called. Now that we've got that strung, our next question to ourselves is, do we have enough beads, or do we want to add some more onto here? And I don't know. Let's think about it, shall we? I think it's pretty. Oh, I'll hear you. So this is what it looks like right now. Now, because these beads on either side of this are small also, it will want to wiggle around the pin, it will, unless you decide to switch it up. I don't think I care. I think I like it that way. So now the other thing we have to, like I said, we have to ask ourselves is, are we done, or do we want to add another bead or two up here at the top? So let's think about that for a few. Now, if we do want to add some more, we could actually take this little pattern I have down here in the pendant and put it up here at the top. It won't add enough, very much, but it will add some, and I think that that might be the way to go, because I think these are pretty, this look pretty cool down here. So in order to do that, we will need, well, we don't need any more of these, and I do have some of them out, so let's put those away. We don't need them. But we will need 2 of these green. Two of these flowers. And the other items we'll need are actually in here. We will need two of these little red ones. I need a second one of those bead caps. There's a second one. And we'll need 2 of these little copper beads. So then we'll put the rest of these away, and we're going to string these on. Well, actually, you know, actually, the other thing we might want to think about is, do we want some kind of a cap up on the top of this little piece here? And I know we don't have anything amongst these. Well, actually, we do have one thing which we could use, though they're gold, but that's all right. We're going to use some gold here. So the thing we're going to put in here are these little crystal Rondelle spacers. So let's string these new pieces on. So we will just go from the one side to start with. Put the spacer, red bead, one of these type of spacer. The little bronze bead. The flower. Flower cap. Remember I said to gently push it down over the top of the flower itself. And then the green bead. Now in order to do the other side, unless we want to take it all apart, we need to cut the wire. But the first thing we need to do before we cut the wire is decide how long are we going to make this, because I'm not going to add chain or anything like that at this other end. What I'm going to do is braid this collar software with SoftFlex wire with two other colors to make the back of this necklace. And trust me, it really looks cool when that's done. So let's decide how long we're going to make it, and we'll get it cut. Okay, I think we're going to make it about 24 inches. So we need to, I may end up with just 22, but I still need this extra wire. Not only for tucking, but you also need extra wire because when you braid, it takes up some of the space. Like when you braid your hair and it gets shorter when you braid it, this is going to do the same thing. So we're going to want to add at least 2 or 3 inches to this. So let's do this. Move the wire around. Now put this like this, because remember, we don't have the other side up there yet. So we need to make sure that we have the same amount from side to side. And now we're going to cut this wire off about where, so we have the same amount on either side here. So in order to do that, now we've got this lined up, and just line up your wire and take it up so you have about the same amount, and cut that free. Now we should be done with this wire because we already have the length we're going to braid up the sides here. Now let's put these beads onto this side. So that piece is done. Remember, this bead cap's going to have to be spread some. That's why you want to carefully push it down like that. And the green. And now this side is done as well. Now, what we need to do is decide the color We want other two colors we want to use. Now, if you don't have any other colors of SoftFlex, you can just take and give yourself some more lengths of the red jasper. That's fine. There's no specific colors you have to use. This is entirely up to you. Okay, I've got some more of my SoftFlex wire out, and I've decided to go with some fluorite and some bone to do the braiding. So we need to pull this over out of our way some, and we need to cut lengths of the wire the same lengths or a little shorter than the one you already have in place. Now, if you're doing this with the same color, I suggest making the to-do wires just a teeny bit shorter, because you're not going to know which one is your base wire otherwise. So because I'm doing it with three colors, it doesn't matter if I don't know which color is the base wire, because I do automatically know that the red one is our base wire. So we cut the lengths off. We'll roll them up. Now you'll notice I'm cutting these a little longer. I'm hoping that I can push all three wires into this last bead so that I don't have to trim them off. Not have much of my bone left. I may have to order some. I like braiding when I'm just going to use just the wire up here, because I have this weirdness, and I know it's sort of psychosomatic because I know they're fine, but it feels like with just the SoftFlex itself here that it's too thin of base, and so I just want it to be a little bit more. Which, like I say, I know it's just in my imagination that it's not strong enough. I mean, it's strong enough to hold the bottom with all of the beads on it. So it's just a fluky thing I have. But adding the braid makes it really pretty and, well, really strong. So let's see if we can get these two extra wires into the bead first. If we can't, well, then we'll just have to trim them off, but that's all right. It's not like it's the first time we've trimmed wires, right? And it looks like they'll go in all right. So now I have all the wires into this bead. Now I want to get a crimp over them. Now, for some reason, the copper crimps tend to be a little tighter on the wires than the gold and silver, so hopefully we can get these to go on all right. If not, I might switch to gold, because I do have other gold pieces in here. Yeah, getting that green one in is creating some havoc there. It doesn't want to go in. And I was afraid that would happen. So I'm going to get some gold crimps out. And we'll use gold. I don't know why the copper always seems to be a teeny touch smaller in the interior than the other colors, but it is. Okay, here are my golds, and we'll see if we can get the golds to fit on a little bit better than the copper wanted to. There we go. See, I don't know why that does that, but it does. Okay. Push this bead down just a hair so you have some room to work with here to get this crimping good. Come on, baby, go up there. You want to go around this a number of times to make the little bead. That looks good. Now let's do the tug test with these extra wires and see if we're still good. Looks like we are. So tuck those all into this bead. Come on, baby, in you go. Okay, there we go. Now roll these over all the way. And we will crimp this side before we start braiding. Now, sometimes it's easier just to put on the crimp first, like this. Let it roll down, and then feed your other wires in to the crimp and the bead. Now, so you can see those are in there, but we need them to go down further so they're close to the other one. So now we want to make sure it's tight, but not too tight that you can't move it around. Okay, now we can. So, but we want to give this crimp just a touch of space because it needs to have room to crimp. So now that I've given it some, I'm going to get it right in the middle. Oops, it slid off. Come on, you. And crimp it down. Turn it. Crimp it again. Turn it. Crimp. And stop sliding, you silly thing, you. Once you're sure it seems to be pretty tight, tug your spare wires, make sure they're not going to come out. Oh, they're good. And now we're going to start braiding. Come on, baby. No twisting. Okay, so we're back upside down. That's good. So it's just a simple matter of braiding like you would braid hair or anything like that. You just take your 3 strands on one side. Incidentally, I'm going to put some new crimps out because once you get it braided to the top of where you want it, you need to crimp it off pretty soon, fast. And I've got 4 here. 4. And you'll see why when we get to the end. Okay, so we're just going to braid this like you would, like I said, just like you would hair. So just choose which one's going to be the middle and go to town. Like I say, you can do this with multiple colors like I'm doing here, or you can use one solid color, you know, all 3 ones with the same color, which works too. Just makes it be wider. It's really pretty when you use the gold wire and do that. Now the braid I'm making is relatively loose here. If you want it to be tighter, just go ahead and just braid tighter. It's perfectly fine. We get close to the end, say about 1 inch, we need to crimp it again. And I'm saying 1 inch because we need to because we can't put 6 wires in a crimp, so when we go to turn it to make our loop to put our clasp on, we need to have some room to do that. So since you can't put 6 wires in, you can only put 3 in. What we're going to need to do is crimp the 3 together, cut off the 2 spare ones, the bone and the fluorite in my stuff here, and then we're going to need to put in a second crimp with the red jasper turned and into it to make a loop. So I'm almost to that point now because, like I say, we need to leave ourselves some working room on on the side where you're going to finish up at. So now we need to put the crimp on the 3. Come on, baby. Bring the crimp down to where you finished braiding. If you want it a little further down, or like I said, a little tighter, now is the time to do it. So you can see how that, if I can get it to, yeah, see how that's braided. Mine is pretty loose. You can make yours tighter or looser, however you want it done. Now we're going to crimp this right here. Let's see now if this is going to hold. Seems like it. So then what you do is you're going to cut these extra 2 wires off, and then we're going to turn it into the other. But first I'm going to go over and do the other side. So we will turn this around and we'll start braiding this side. I'm doing this now before I do work on the other side anymore, because I want to make sure that I have my 2 lengths the same length. So just braid this up. Now see, I'm getting this side a little tighter than that side, so you can just pull it like this and loosen it some. Oops, come on, baby. Which wire are we on? Let's see, I think this should be about the same length, but let's see. Nope, it needs just a little bit more. I'm going to stop here because, as you can see, my wires are getting a little short. So even if it's a little shorter on this side, it's just going to have to be that way. Okay, so feed the wires through the crimp bead. Work them down till you have them about where you want them. Oh, and actually it's a little longer, so I can push it down some more. Now you're going to have to work this a little bit with the braid in here, because it's twisted, it's not going to want to go down as easily. Almost there, just a teeny bit more. There we go. Close enough, I think. It's pretty darn close. It could go down just a touch more, but not too much. So we work this through. Okay, I think I got that last little bit down. Actually, a little bit extra. Okay. There we go. So then, of course, we crimp it again. Oops, I just moved it with the crimpers. Oh, maybe I didn't, because now we're down too low. There we go. So I'll get the crimp in the middle of the divot and push. And then turn and push. And just go it around in a circle till you get a nice, good crimp. Okay. Alrighty then. Now we have our braid on both sides, and they're crimped off. So next step is to get rid of the extra wires, which we'll do very easily by simply taking our cutters and actually, I'm going to do something else first. We're going to get one more bead and we're going to put it in here. I think it makes a really pretty little decoration, and it helps hide your cut wires. Got the two little beads here, and I doubt very strongly if this little bead is going to accept all 3 wires. It may not even accept 2. Let's see. Definitely not 3. Nope, it doesn't even want to. So we're going to cut the extra wires off right now. So carefully cut down and cut off the fluorite and bone wires. We'll do that on both sides. Okay, now that we've got those cut off, what we're going to do is we're going to put a bead in here, and then we're going to put the crimp bead on here. Now right here we could go back to using the copper ones if we wanted to, because we're going to be only putting 2 strands through this wire. I mean through this toggle crimp tube. See if we can get this to go into the bead. If not, we'll just have to do it on the outside, which is all right. Stop arguing with me, you little silly thing. Now right here, if you wanted to attach your clasp straight to your necklace, this is where you would put it on at. Looks like it doesn't want to go through the bead, so we will just bring it up close to where the bead is. And tighten her up. But we're going to leave a little loop because I'm going to jump ring onto here. So, right there. Now we need to get the crimp tool in here and crimp. That wasn't my prettiest crimp ever, but will work as soon as I get this all done. Okay, pull, seems to be tight. Cut the extra wire off. And let's do the other side. And we just repeat the process of what we did here. Put the bead on. Maybe. Put the crimp tube on. Turn it. Bring it all the way up. Come on, baby. Let me get my fingernail in there so I can pull you. There we go. Want our loop to be about the same as the other side, and that is, so we'll crimp this. Pull on her to see if she is good and tight here. Yep, and then trim this extra wire. And now all we have to do is put on the clasp and we are done. Okay, I have got a little copper lobster claw, and we're going to put that on one side with a tiny oval jump ring. Well, it's not really tiny. I've got tinier ones than this in silver, but we'll use this for the one side. And then we're going to put a large one on the side for the clasp. So let's get our pliers out and open up these jumprings, and we'll get these onto the necklace ends and we'll be done. Now, this one actually may be too small. No, I think it'll be good. So we just open our jumprings up like we would any other opening. These are ovals. I like ovals because the break in the ring is on the side, so you don't have to worry about things slipping out too easily. I'll show you what I mean on the other one, since there's the lobster. Now see how the break is right here in this side here. So then when gravity pulls it, of course, it goes to the top and the bottom of your pieces, and your split stays on the side, so you don't have to worry so much about things sliding off. Put this through the little loop, tighten her up. Make sure it's closed. Yep. And we are done. Just have to put this onto here, and there you go. Our necklace is finished, though this is liking to twist up here. And there's what she looks like. I'll get her on a bust and we'll show you what it looks like better. Here is our necklace, which we just finished. Our pendant and our rabbit ears. Going down, and then to our braided SoftFlex wire. And of course, the back with its lobster claw. So this is Rose from Rose's Garden, again, working with the SoftFlex.com kit Woodland Walk, which features a lot of Jesse James beads. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you guys braiding your SoftFlex wire. This has been, again, Rose from Rose's Garden, and we'll see you later.